I'll
be here if you need me. What was that? I'll be here if you need me.
Oh, yeah. And we can repeat some of this. I just wanted to get a start, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wonderful thing about a BrattleBox'O is you can actually use it as a box as well as a musical instrument. And get out an important tool. And that is their official name. It's a BrattleBox'O. BrattleBox'O. So I purchased these boxes. Are we all recording and all that? Oh, all right, then. What do you know? I purchased these boxes. I find them, you know, all over the place. Some of them are cheaper than others. Some of them are older than others. And the joy is some of them are moldering away, and even just the pleasure of like wiping them off with vinegar and letting them bake in the sunlight and sanding them, I find it truly pleasurable. One of the fun things in terms of electronic music is that you can your starting tone can be very different, right? And that's going to have an impact. I am not like deep in the world of electronic music. I'm just having fun. And my goal today is to try to show how easy it is to make something that'll sound really distinctly different. And so I'm using some presets on my amp. I know nothing about them. I just play with them until I get a sound that I like, you know? Maybe one day I'll advance to pedals, you know? But at any rate, so this is the BrattleBox'O. That one's not good. And the other thing is, I really don't know much about music theory. I just since I'm not going to be fretting anything on this instrument, I just pick open notes that sound to me like they sound good together. My housemate, who's versed in music, says, "Oh yeah, that's an A minor. They just have an A minor scale there, or whatever." Or, "Oh, well, Mixolydian, interesting." But again, my point is, you don't have to know anything to have a fun time and actually make stuff that sounds pleasurable and different. So, I don't like that one either. I don't really like that one either. Well, all right, we're just going to live with it, and
you guys came in here. That's right. You came in and we were talking. That's right.
The other cool thing is if you get a box that has two clasps on the side like that, undo one clasp, and what do you have? A whammy bar.
All right. Tell me the address.
All right. Yeah, let's lower that one too. Oh, I forgot. There we are. We're just going to stick to the lower register. So, of course, if you do it rhythmically, right, then you get kind of like a, you know, like a... Now, I'm getting most of this sound. You guys are getting most of that. So I don't know how many of the effects are actually manifesting themselves through my amp at the moment, but it should be sounding somewhat phasey and somewhat A teeny bit of tremolo, but mostly phase and some delay. So I don't know if that's coming through because I'm hearing the box. So. So since this is really a demonstration, I'm going to switch over to the analog portion of today's presentation. Oh wow, that's a thought. So again, just a simple wooden box that I got. I use this to drop the hole in, not because that's the hole I want. This, I want it just so I can get this nice sharp saw in. And, wow, let's... While I'm sawing, I'm also going to talk loudly because I had a really interesting experience yesterday. I was at the Montpelier train station and I heard what I thought were bagpipes, and it sounded exactly like one of my favorite bagpipe tracks. And I know nothing about, intervals. Turned out it was two giant fans at the Portland cement factory were just both whizzing just a little bit. And anyways, I love bagpipes. That's not a dig on bagpipes, but it really was amazing how something completely different vibrating could produce the same tonal quality. So, all right, this is just going to be loud, and I'm not going to talk to you for a little bit. But I'll tell you another principle. You want to make, of course, there's audio reasons to make a particular shaped sound hole, but there's also aesthetics, right? So on here, I've got a bittern. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that bird. First, I just cut out the hole, and then I figured out what animal I was making, right? And so the way I get to cheat like that is you can draw on the rest of the signifier, so whatever shape you make. So I tend to not pre-draw my shape. I just cut out a hole, and they go, oh, look at that. Looks like a squid. Well, that would be pretty bad, actually. I guess a squid would be lots of dangly stuff. But you know what I mean? Like, oh, look at that is kind of my principle. And it usually works out. I should also mention that I live at the Addison Brown Schoolhouse, which is at 7 Chase Street, and every month we invite people over to just jam at our house, and we'll put up an announcement on Facebook, yeah, so that's open to the general public. That's a University of Brattleboro event. All right, I wasn't anticipating this wood was going to be all right, maybe just didn't budget right. Anyway, here we are. You get the basic idea. We might just pretend that there's a nice good hole. But, yeah, that's seeming increasingly likely. Ah, we're making progress. All right, we'll take just one more slash through. Now, truth be told, I've been buying large wooden chests because, like, go big or go home, right?
Wooden chests, I might have some more chests for you.
If you're serious, I'd be very happy. My housemates won't be happy, but I'll be very happy, yeah. All right, so there we are. We'll cut more of that later. That's enough to let out some sound. Hopefully we'll get to the place on today's program where we actually get one string vibrating over the hole. That's about as much as we can really shoot for. I'm actually just flustered enough that I'm doing silly things. Like first, we will be able to, I know they're not that expensive. And also if you go to the hatch space, they're going to be able to teach you much more than I'm teaching you right now. But I'm really trying to show just what a low bar of entry there is to getting this done. So,
Are power tools welcome for the jams?
well, you mean electrical instruments? If that's what you mean by a power tool, yes. Actual literal buzz saws, not just a guitar that sounds like a buzz saw. No, that's not welcome. No. Yeah, if you have a yeah.
Hand saws?
No, I don't. Well, I mean, if you're playing it like a saw, like Appalachian saw, then yeah, sure. What was I thinking? All right, yes, I should have done this.
So how did you get into making BrattleBox'os?
Gosh, I think I was depressed.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's how all good art comes.
And I had a box, and I was like, wait, I can't. I love playing actual really nice acoustic guitars, but I know those are far beyond my ability. But I rescued. Actually, that's the first step. Was I was in a PhD program, which I was invited to leave, and I found a Ramirez guitar sticking out of a dumpster, and Ramirez is one of the brands that Segovia used. So, and George Harrison too, I guess. But anyways, wow. When I did these, it was much easier. I don't know if it was, this also looks like pine, so I'm surprised. Aha! It bit. There we are. That's what you're waiting. You're just waiting for it to take hold, and then you can go in with your Allen wrench and just, there now. See, this is, when you edit it down, you're just going to edit it to here, right? Like,
Sure, yeah.
okay. Now I'll do the same thing over here. That's what I'll do. We'll just keep talking. Feel free to ask me a question, anybody, and I can talk and be less. Okay, that's good.
What happened after you got the Ramirez guitar?
Oh, right, we left that off. So when I found it, somebody had Pete Townsend it and split it open, which was just whatever. Who knows? Maybe they're having a horrible day. Maybe their parents were forcing them to play guitar. Maybe they tried to hit somebody in self-defense. Whatever. But it was split open, and so I was, of course, disappointed when I found it. But then my friend pointed out, no, this is just C clamps and wood glue, and we're all set, because the two sides are splayed out like this. It just went like that, and that was the first guitar I ever played on stage with, and that's the other thing I'll just throw out there is the beauty of sanding. I did not sand this down very far, but if you, so sanding is this really weird, nerdy thing to get obsessively in love with. But there's this thing that happens when you start sanding above grain 500 dots per inch, and you keep going, and weird things start, there's even a word for it, it turns out. The wood starts looking like it's three-dimensional, like you can look into it and see swirly things inside, and it gets so shiny and so beautiful. And it turns out that even cheap wood that's not respected, can be really beautiful. I think that's definitely part of, again, in answer to the question, how did I start doing this? Like when you're depressed, you need to make beauty, you know? And so that was definitely part of it. So I always use ball strings, because you can just, go through.
Is that just a guitar string?
Yeah, these are just, I typically prefer banjo strings or something like that, but they didn't have ball ends at Contemporary, and I'm afraid it's practicality over pure sound, which I know is like, that's not right. But I should have bought snips as well. So intentionally I leave these up because you need a lot of room, of course, to tune. If you get down to the bottom, you don't have any tuning room, if that makes sense. It's good. What's really great too is hearing the first time you pluck it, and sometimes you get real surprises like, whoa, that's pretty, or sometimes it's like, well. On that note, I did not bring my other joy, which is my Guitar Joe, and I was going to demonstrate it, but, oh, hello. Should do that one more time, or maybe two more times. All right, that should do it. And then with this, why don't we do it this end? Here we go. Oh. Oh, yes. I was trying to talk about the Guitar Joe. So the Guitar Joe, what I found is you can take a guitar that's laminate on all four sides. Like no rich tone is going to be coming out of there. But a bright tone can come out of such an object. And they frequently have a plastic bridge, which you can either sand off or pop off, because sometimes they're made so cheaply that the glue is barely holding on the plastic bridge. You take that off, and then with a, some guitars have like a tail end. All you have to do to put that on is just screw it in, and then you've got strings just waiting. Now you go to Brown and Roberts, and you get an aluminum rod. And they come in different diameters. You cut that to size. The strings are only touching the rod in one tiny place, so it's perfect. The surface area is only hitting that one spot, and you get the tension right simply by putting the rod in. I'm talking about a non-existent object that's not in front of you, but so you put it in, and then to check your intonation, you just slide it up or slide it down until the intonation's good. And aluminum transmits sound extremely well. So it ends up being some weird cross of a guitar and a banjo sound. And if you ever come to the jam sessions, you're welcome to play the Guitar Joe. But at any rate, that's not going to make. You don't want the first sound to be a feeble disappointment, right? So we're going to crank that up a lot tighter.
So where and when are the sessions?
What's that?
The jam sessions.
Oh, they're at 7 Chase Street.
Cool.
We usually in the the 20s, but since there's 3 housemates, we haven't settled on a permanent thing. So one of the housemates is not there often, so it's not so hard to come up with a date. But in the 20s, and we'll put the ads out onto Facebook. My experience in Brattleboro is if you invite the whole town to come, only a handful of people. It's no risk. It's not like 100 people are going to show up. So, oh wait, one important thing. You need to take out your stuff, right? Because that's going to interrupt your sound. There we are. See, it also serves as a busking box, right? So, if you're so lucky. All right, I think that's tight enough to get a sound, so here goes. Oh. Oh! It completely slackened up as I did that. So this was not truly taut. That was the disappointment we were hoping to avoid. Well, that's life, right? And then you just keep going. Anticipation. Well, watch it snap. Now that would be sad. Okay. All right, here we go. There you are. Still, I didn't do a great job over here on these strings. Eventually that settles out, is my experience. You just keep doing it until it becomes stable. You can easily drop on a tuner under the top of the thing, and the new style, which actually I may actually have in my bag. By strange coincidence, so the 3 housemates were all divorced dads, so we call it the divorced dad domicile. And by strange coincidence, a lot of stuff that we play just turns out to be in D. It's not strange to my housemate who always knows what the hell he's playing in. But if I bring him a melody, he says, yeah, that's another D major. I was hoping to find it. I did find a tuner. So you can just slap the tuner right on. Trying to hit everything you would need to know as a complete beginner. There we are. Oh wait, here we'll do it so that the camera can actually see maybe. Here we go. What does it say?
A sharp.
A sharp. Anyway. So that was the breakneck speed of demonstration of all this stuff. I think I got everything covered. The potential for a whammy bar, how to make an aesthetically pleasing hole, which we have not achieved yet on this, but we'll make some random shape and then figure out what to draw or wood burn in as the rest of the beauty. Which is, I think, there's no one way to making great art, and in general, my personal approach is paying attention to what you've done and then finding what goes well with it, as opposed to trying to pre-compose it. You know, it's kind of like they say, the difference between Dostoevsky and Tolstoy was Tolstoy knew what chapter Anna Karenina was going to die in, how she was going to die, and why. And Dostoevsky is shocked when his characters start saying things that he doesn't think they should be saying. He had no idea. So you can either just run with it and find what pieces belong with what pieces, or you can be much more methodical and plan things out. So, for example, there's one other thing to know. When you set your distances between your things, it's really about how big your hands are. I mean, you do want to be a certain distance in, because you want to avoid splitting the wood from the side. But the distance between these really has to do with whether or not you can turn the tuners, and also how nimble your fingers are from going between strings that are really close together. So I tend to space them out pretty farther than they need to be. This was a little bit tight for me when I try to tune, but that is largely my presentation. High on the making and not high on so much on the music. So.
Could you play something on the other one just to get
Yeah, sure. To do that, I'm going to spend some time tuning it, actually. That'll make it much easier for me to actually achieve, since it's all open. Oh! Thank you. These tuners tend to be very sensitive, but they tend to hang on.
Just about. That was probably their peak. You know, the neighborhood of Kiko, that was fine.
Okay. La da 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 da. So I'm doing a very quick tune where I let there be no sharps or flats. Sometimes I'll skip a couple notes. Oh, I like that. Trying to do this both quickly so as not to bore you, but also to do it so I actually get some combination of notes that I actually like. No, not you, that's for sure. That sounds good and mysterious. All right, for the interest of yeah, anyway, just one more on that one. Too much. There we are. there's just a little taste. I'm much more proficient on on Guitar Joe. I can say that. But at any rate, so I guess that's all. Again, unless anybody has any other questions about anything else. I've just started exploring, like taking these unusual sounds and then sending them through and trying to get other tones. Tone is really what it's all about in the end, I think. So, thank you very much. Thank you for your patience as well.
What is this called? What do you
I'm calling this a BrattleBox'O. In Lithuania, it's called a kanklės, a Kankles. But I've drifted far enough away from that to. I didn't even know there were kanklės when I was making BrattleBox'Os, but yeah. Yeah. All right. Very good. Thank you.